Yeah, we are live.
Okay, right. Okay. Good morning and welcome to Facebook Live with Cain, Circuit Breaker Edition, the Feng Shui Guide to Working and Living Under Quarantine. I'm Pei Wen. I'm your guest host for this morning. And of course, on the other end with me is Cain.
Hi everyone. Good morning everyone. I'm Kane.
Hi, Cain.
Hello.
Yeah, so can you like just introduce yourself for the benefit of the viewers?
Hi. Good morning everyone. I'm Kane. I'm a metaphysics consultant, or most people would say that I'm a feng shui master. I'm actually the founder of Celestial Ambience. Most people would actually find my job very interesting. I read individual destiny from bazi or 8 characters, conduct feng shui audits for houses and office, choose auspicious date for important occasions, or even people who actually requested to actually change their name. So there's actually many more things that I do in terms of metaphysical way. So yeah, I would just explain to you the small details here. Right.
Mm. Okay, thanks. Okay, all right, just to clarify with the viewers, right? What you're
Right.
seeing on the screen right now, okay, on the left-hand side, there's this guy wearing glasses. That's Kane. And on the right side, okay, that's me. You can see a picture of like this like angel that is actually Cupid, the angel who is like associated with love and romance. So I'm actually using that avatar because that's really apt for today's topic, which is romance in a time of coronavirus. Okay, before we go on to that, right? Mm,
Right.
Again, I understand that you've been like really active on Facebook lately, and if you guys don't know, I've been like friends with like Kane for a couple of years on Facebook, on his personal Facebook account, and he actually doesn't post much on Facebook. He's like he he's totally not active. He probably posts like what 3 to 5 posts a year, and his Facebook page is like not nothing much, not nothing much, and it's like kind of not interesting. But lately, he made a switch on his Celestian Ambience Facebook page. He's posting a lot of Facebook live sessions, and today is actually the first session of this Facebook live circuit breaker edition, the feng shui guide to working and living under quarantine. So, Kane, um,
Yeah.
tell us more. Like, why suddenly are you so active?
Actually, it's more to my individual thoughts lah. Probably not probably, but I would actually wanted to help people at this moment of time during the civic time, and do some charity work. But a lot of people actually feels that charity work is in terms of money or money counts. But I think that charity work there's really different types of things that you can actually do to help people. For me itself, because I have that kind of special skills, I'm actually will help people in terms of their emotional support, as well as hopefully I'm able people who approach me, able to actually help them to do the right thing probably at the right time.
Okay. Actually, that's quite true because right now, right, it's
Uh,
well, as everyone know it's like COVID-19, and it's
hmm,
really a challenging time for people, not just in Singapore, but everywhere in this world. So apart from the impact on our public health, businesses are suffering, people's livelihoods are threatened, our lifestyles are altered very significantly, and all of a
hmm,
sudden we have to adapt to this strange new world. And people are looking for answers and solutions and new ways to navigate this environment. So, Kane, I understand that you have a couple more Facebook Live sessions scheduled over the next few days where you will address concerns that, people or their families may be facing in, this period of COVID-19. And tonight there'll be one live chat with the audience at what time is it? 9 p.m. is it?
9 p.m. Yeah, right.
Okay, 9 p.m. Uh,
Yeah, so
so
the live chat will be like questions and answer. So people who have actually concerns, right? They probably will ask me a specific questions, but they need to give me their date of birth and time, so I'm able to help them to evaluate and give them a proper advice, probably to have a second opinion for them to make certain major decisions.
Okay. I think that this would be like really interesting, especially people with like a lot of burning
Right.
and urgent questions. And over the next few days, you also have other Facebook Live sessions,
Yeah,
such as the
yeah, mm,
one
right.
of it is protecting the breadwinner's rice bowl during uncertain times.
Right.
Yeah. So
That is into more to like feng shui perspective lah. Like for example, we can actually implement something in the house to actually enhance the luck of the breadwinner, or if we see or there's something that we can actually do a cure in order to actually help them to safeguard their health, even their money itself. Right. Yeah. That is more to like feng shui enhancement or cure.
mm, okay, I think this is like a really important topic because jobs are being threatened. So a lot of people want to know how to safeguard their jobs. And another session you're doing is quick and easy feng shui tips to enhance productivity, harmony, and health at home.
Right. Right.
So, mm,
So this is something which during the past few live show, right? A lot of people are asking me where's the best direction that I should be facing, or I should be, sitting in order to get the best result. So this is one of the things that I will address, and I will actually help the people to have some knowledge in terms of doing a very manual calculation. From the manual calculation with a chart in place, right? They'll be able to find their most favorable directions or their most favorite sector, either in the house or anywhere that they go. Yeah, that is very interesting,
okay. Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
right? Yeah.
And finally, you have this also a very interesting one, the DIY, do it yourself remedy to safeguard your health during a pandemic.
Right. I'm actually preparing all the materials, all the objects and the materials for you all to have the chance to DIY, do it yourself, a cure itself on certain areas for this year, right? To actually enhance your health itself, and also probably, that would be the way to eradicate the threats of COVID.
Okay. I hope this, you mentioned it'll be like a really affordable and convenient method, right?
Yeah, it's very affordable. Yeah, it's just something that you can, most of the things that you can actually find in your house, like for example, salt, or container, a bottle itself. This is something which is not difficult to do also, but there's some tricks that you can actually do it well. And also
Mm.
like it's actually very convenient. It is actually not time consuming. And some people like my students or the public which they know about this cure, right? They probably would not know how to do certain thing after implementing for a few months. Like for example, disposing of that ornament itself. Should they reuse it, or should they just dispose it? But there's also some not techniques, but there's also some things that they did need to take note if they are going to dispose the item, right?
Okay, got it. So, if any of you are interested in these topics, right, do check out the Celestial Ambience Facebook page. All the details, all the schedule, on the Facebook page. So, and do tune in if you want to find out more about what Cain has to say to do with all these situations during COVID-19. Okay, Cain, before we enter into today's topic, right, which is going to be really interesting, let's talk about how life has changed for you and me during this period of COVID-19. So for me, right, we are all stuck at home. I cannot leave the house,
Yeah, true.
and two things happen, which I think is quite positive for me. One is right, um, I've been working out a lot. I've been exercising a lot. And you know me, right? I'm not really a fitness person, but not
Yeah,
every day I exercise for like 2 hours a day.
but I know that you like yoga, right?
Yeah, but previously I do it like once a week only. But because the studio closed, I have to do it at home. Then I started doing it every day. So
Oh,
yeah, my flexibility and my strength, I think got a bit of improvement. And then the
okay.
second thing that happened is I'm cooking a lot because it's a bit hard to you cannot dine out, and if you go out to tapa, right,
Mm.
you have to quickly rush back home to take your food before it becomes cold. So that part is a bit inconvenient. So I've been like cooking a lot at home, and because I realized that I like Japanese food so much, right? That
Mm.
I've been studying a lot of Japanese recipe, and I keep cooking like oyakodon, omurice, chawanmushi, udon, shabu shabu, sukiyaki at home. And previously I don't know how to cook all of this, but because of circuit breaker, right, I become like a Japanese chef now, right now.
Okay, you become an expert already. Right.
Yes, no, not expert yet, lah, but still okay, still can pass
Okay.
off. So how about you?
Oh, for
How
me,
is
I
life to
actually,
you?
yeah, it's a bit different because I have a daughter and my daughter is still very young, like only 5 years old, and during this time, right, nobody is supposed to go back to school. There's a lot of restriction. Then my daughter is actually 5 years old, so she's in a preschool. So every time there's a lot of homework, they will go online. The teacher will appear online and teach the students. They dance, and also there's some assignments for them. So for me, right, I spend a lot of time. It's really a very good opportunity to spend time with my daughter, and because of spending time with my daughter, right, then we have very good bonding in terms of the family bonding itself, because our focus normally is like mainly through our daughter lah. So for me, it's not very easy for me to teach people because I don't think that I have that kind of a patience to be a very good teacher. So, but yeah, because of COVID, then there's homework from the teachers. So I have to be like patiently listen to what the teacher's instruction, how we should guide our daughter in terms of that particular assignment. Then have to sit patiently, talk to her, guide her, and also complete the assignment. So this is one of the part that it's not tough, but it's very interesting that both me and my spouse itself, like we really spend time like sitting down with her after the class, go through the assignment, go through the homework, talk to her. That's the time whereby during this COVID, right, we have a lot of time to actually communicate with her, and supposedly we know a little bit more in depth about her academics actually in school. So it's good somehow, right?
Mm, I think circuit breaker, right, has sort of changed the way we behave, and it's also bringing like new situations into our lives. So
Right.
okay, now let's go to our topic for today, which is
Oh,
romance in a time of coronavirus. I think a lot of people are affected by this, whether married people, people in relationship,
yeah.
or single people. So you mentioned just now that for you, right, it has been
Oh,
a relatively positive experience because you're spending a lot of time with your child and also communicating with your spouse. So, for married couples, right now they have to face each other like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Um, in your opinion, right, I think it could go both ways, They will either get really sick of each other, or this actually enhance their marital life. And I think it's different for everyone. So how do you actually tell from metaphysics whether it would be a positive or negative thing like for the couple?
yeah, actually, when I give example, right, it's normally probably people who know me very well, right? Then normally we have a chit chat, right? Then I'll like speak a little bit more in terms of metaphysics, to blend in with the topic itself. So I always go back to the origination of yin and yang itself. So if we talk about family bonding, or we really talk about relationships, we also see the two sides of yin and yang. Like for this instance, right, is talking about family love. It's talking about being together and staying in harmony, right? Yin is actually, if we do classify yin as passive and yang as active, right? So if you are always a very passive person, like probably a yin person, then this is actually a good time that you can actually spend your time, because you have plenty of time to be more proactive in terms of the family bond, in terms of your effort to make sure that when the people are around the house, you can be more proactive in thinking of what are the things to do together with them. But for people who are very young, they are very energetic, they're very enthusiastic actually. Then they spend most of the time probably working, and they work long hours. They are always not at home. So it's actually it's also a time whereby they will be grounded. So when they are grounded, right, and they will be like definitely have to spend their time at home, and this is definitely a good time for them to be like contribute to the family, the needs, and getting to know them even better, and getting to know all the small things that happen in the house, whereby they will never be able to actually find out, if they are busy working outside. So like for example, some of my customers, right, they will spend time in packing their things, then suddenly they found some treasures. How come I have actually bought this thing 15 years ago, but I didn't even realize it, and it's very expensive. So these are some of the things that you can do. And I think the most important, regardless is in passive or active, in or young, right? That is the time whereby I'm not saying that you're being forced to actually stay at home or what, but it's a good time to be able to spend a lot of fruitful time. But your thinking still have to be right, lah. Because when you're spending time at home, you can actually just laze around. But if you actually think it positively, right, and you do things with a kind of good passion, and you're very compassionate towards your family, right, you will be able to actually find out more. You will be able to actually think of more things to be fruitful and do it together with your family. That's how I feel.
Mm,
Mm,
I see. So the key is to be optimistic, because there are always opportunities to benefit from this situation, like spending more time with your family.
right,
So okay, how about, right? Let's move on to single people. Okay,
right,
single people who are, say, looking for relationships, and as you know now, right, mask has the face mask, right, has
right.
become mandatory, and
So you're
safe
telling me that the
distancing.
face mask, people cannot kiss, cannot show their affection.
No,
Yeah,
no,
that's true. Yeah,
but it half your face, so it's like, wow, very,
I,
it affects your communication, right?
yeah, it's
You
true.
can
It's
only see
true.
that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's also very difficult to breathe, sometimes. Yeah,
I know. And when you talk, right, your voice also become muffled. So
yeah,
a bit difficult.
yeah. I tell you,
Yeah.
it's true. Yeah, my
Uh,
wife is telling me that when she's wearing a mask, because normally she will be doing the marketing, right? So when
yeah.
she's wearing the mask and like going for probably a 1 hour marketing to buy all the food for a week, and after she come back, I think the first 1 or 2 weeks, right? Then she's telling me that the surrounding of my mouth have pimples.
Oh no. She must wash
Yeah.
the mask lah. She don't wash or not.
Right. Yeah. So
Mm.
yeah.
I
So it's
have
probably
I have
bring a
three
lot of
masks at
inconvenience.
home.
So
Huh?
probably it brings
Sorry?
a lot of, so probably it brings a lot of inconvenience for for a lot of people, because they doesn't get used to it. I also don't get used to it, actually.
Mm.
Yeah, but no choice.
Oh,
Yeah. Mm,
yeah. Oh,
right.
because I think the weather in Singapore is very hot, so it traps a
Yeah.
lot of heat around your face, right?
Mm,
Yeah. So okay, so now mask is like part of our face, right? Part of our fashion, and now we need to practice safe distancing. So I think
right.
on the social side of things, right, a lot of people, they may feel bored, they feel lonely, and they are isolated at home. They cannot meet their friends, they cannot go out, and so it's really like a game changing event. And for single people, right,
Mm,
they can't go out to meet new people. They cannot attend parties. They cannot meet their colleagues. They cannot do anything like go club or whatever. And now all the opportunities to find love, through the conventional ways, have is they are dead. All these methods are dead. So I want to ask you, right, and for couples, right, who are dating and not living together, they can't go out for a meal and they can't catch a movie. So from your opinions, from a metaphysics point of view,
right.
in the year 2020, a period of coronavirus, what is your take on relationships? Is it like game over for singles, or will couples break up or become closer because of like COVID-19?
Yeah, actually, metaphysics thoughts is very, very different, because like when we are talking about a individual person life destiny, right? There's always a certain indication of the executing processes. So it actually doesn't matter whether is it COVID or some other things that actually happen in a very chaotic manner. So for me, my take is that I think it doesn't there's pros and cons lah, but it doesn't really affect in terms of a person cultivating a relationship. For single itself, right, I would have to just emphasize on a few things. I think the first thing is that for during the COVID, right, probably the physical touch, you doesn't really connect to people in a kind of more physical way. Like for example, you kiss that particular person or what. But I think a lot of things can still be more to the spiritual or emotional aspect. Then a lot of people will be like telling me, yeah, although you are saying something that is right, very emotional aspect, then but we still need to have the physical touch with that particular person, actually to get to know the person and create even a stronger bonding. So for single is probably not possible. No, it's possible. Okay, why is it possible? But because sometimes when if let's say you have just get to know a person through social media, or I think nowadays the young people, they go to Tinder, is it? I'm not very sure.
Oh, Tinder, yeah. Tinder.
Tinder. They go to Tinder and get to know people. So during this time, right, the emotional or the spiritual aspect, right, is more to like talking to that someone, not impressing them, but getting to create that bond in caring for the someone, and caring for the someone, even there's a distance, right. The sincerity can be actually felt, and the things that the common things that you're communicating, which probably, like, let's say if if they have the same interest, it actually will just somehow create the bond and hook up to them very strongly. So after the COVID, for example, they managed to actually get together and meet each other. So it's like a kind of a catalyst whereby immediately they can create a relationship and blossom the relationship, and the physical touch will come next. But it's still the same, it's still the same logic that after the emotional aspect, then you proceed to go to the physical one. So I don't think that it's an issue for singles who are actually looking for love. But but like what I've mentioned, the skill of communication is important. Okay, that
Mm.
how you are able to attract people by the way you speak, by the concern that you give, and by the love and the passion that you have, and also when you're finding someone, right, it should be someone that shares the same interest with you. Yeah,
Okay. Actually, that makes sense. That makes sense because I mean, a lot of people are getting to know, uh, potential boyfriend or girlfriend through
right.
dating apps really. So they are communicating virtually and then they meet up later. But it's just that
Yeah.
I think right now the meeting up may be a bit further lah, instead of like meeting up or let's meet up tomorrow, meet up tonight. Yeah. So there is like more time to cultivate a relationship virtually. So
Yeah.
you
Therefore,
also
in terms of metaphysical explanation, right? For me, because every time when people looks for me, right, they normally have a few issues, or they have some problems. The problems are quite general or very generic. Like for example, love problem lah, wealth problem lah. So these are the more common problems that they have. So for me, if let's say we are really touching in terms of destiny reading, in terms of the person particularly they're addressing in terms of their romance, right? Then there's such a things like if people who actually learn metaphysics, they will know that let's do it in a shortcut or more interesting way, that you will hear people saying that inner romance, outer romance, pool of romance, or even peach of blossom. So some people will be very, especially the ladies, they will be like very hype when we are talking about pitch of romance. Then they'll be asking whether if I do have pitch of romance, that means it's good, right? I'm able to invite more, have more opportunity to meet up with men, and be able to actually develop a relationship. So there's a lot of different types. So if let's say, for example, if you have good romance means inner romance lah, that during the particular year, right, somehow the process will lead you to meeting the right person, regardless are you able to meet them. It can be through like telephone, or through social media. You still can be able to see their face. So during this period of time, right, it's supposed to be good for this lady. Okay, this lady will also be very spontaneous, to and also have lots of opportunity to meet up with men that is good to fulfill. I mean to be more fruitful in the relationship, because if you are like what I mentioned, for destiny, doing the right thing at the right time is actually very important. If you know this is the right time and you do have a lot of opportunity, then just seize it. Okay, because it's like a catalyst. It will actually build a very strong foundation for you in the future. Like for example, when it's the right time, you will meet the right guy. So when you meet the right guy, right, definitely there will be a very good chances, especially in the beginning, in the initial phase of execution, in the initial phase of the relationship, that it will help to blossom, and also whatever things that may happen, it will be always be a good thing. Give you an example, you all will get married within less than a period of 1 or 2 years, then you will have very healthy children. There will be no problem in terms of the lady is delivering, and they probably will be able to actually buy a good house, staying in the same roof, having a change in their in the way that they live, being more mature in handling things. Like that when you are having a child, it's very different when you do not have a child. So people started to get more responsible. Somehow, when they want to change a job, they will also be thinking twice, because they have a kid to feed and they have a complete family. So this is how I feel. Mm,
Oh, okay. So you're saying that when a person enjoys good relationship luck, all these
correct.
things will happen, and that would be. And then how do you know it's the right time when this happen?
Yeah, I think for the right time, right? So for us, we have if there's a affinity with that someone who actually come and see me, right? Normally, no, I do have customer, like every year when they come and see me, they will ask me, so how's my relationship this year? Should I be going into a relationship? Will I be meeting the right people? So I'll be able to, because of the skills that I have, lah. I'm able to actually be able to read that person's bazi or the destiny chart, to know exactly is that the year that the true love is coming. And if the year actually indicates true love, right, then I'll tell them. And they will a lot of things also depending on effort lah. So they will have to put in a lot of effort, and definitely the chances and the opportunities are there. Hmm.
If what if they don't put in effort?
Yeah, the chances opportunity is there, but if they don't put in effort, right, it may somehow, they may also miss that kind of opportunity, because right now, right, we are
Um,
actually living in a very hybrid world. Okay, in a very hybrid world, in the kind of era that when you want to drive something, right, there's a lot of ways for you to do it. But if you do not want to do it, right, nobody is able to actually force you to do it. So if you have actually chosen not to do it, even with a very good romance luck, right, when there's no actions, right, it actually means that it actually means it's an action. But when there's no action, there will be no contributions. And when there's no contribution, there will at the end of the day, there will be no results.
oh, okay. So
Yeah.
even with romance luck, right? Effort is still very important.
Yeah, self-effort is very
So
important. Self-effort is the thing that actually creates the opportunity. When you have opportunity, create that. What is that called? Create that chance of getting together. Hmm.
so even with like COVID-19 right now, there's still chance for people to get together as long as they are, active on, I guess dating apps or connect with their friends through WhatsApp or teleconference. It's still possible to cultivate like a
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah,
Mm,
definitely. Because we are living in an era is very, very different. Is talking about technology. Yeah. So technology actually do a lot of wonders. Yeah.
mm,
So there's many
okay.
platform for you to be able to, uh, having this opportunity and create your own opportunity. Yeah, that is the
Right.
reason why destiny. Most of the people will be saying destiny is not fixed, so you can actually change your destiny. It's very much depending on your viewpoint. It's also very much depending on your efforts, right?
Mm. Okay, so there's really like no excuses not to connect with people even during circuit breaker. So
Yeah,
for viewers out there, right, put in more effort to connect with your friends or get to know new people because there are
yeah,
so many platforms out there.
yeah.
Yeah. So um okay, another thing
Hmm.
uh okay, let's see. Another thing to check with you, right, is that there are some people, couples, right, who are
Right.
planning to get married. But as
Mm,
you know, with the circuit breaker in April, actually more than 1,000 solemnizations were postponed. And
right.
recently, ROM implemented the virtual solemnizations. But even
Right.
with this in place, there are still a lot of restrictions in terms of, say, celebrating. So couples planning to have a wedding banquet at hotels or having a photo shoot out there, they may have to shelve their plans or, limit the way they go about doing things. And they are really in a crossroads. So this can be very frustrating. So
True.
I think that to them, the option is more like, right, um, should they still go ahead with these limitations, or should they wait until things improve? But we don't know when it will improve, maybe 1 year time or 2 years time before making any plans. What do you
Uh,
think?
Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer question because if they it's actually very much depending on that particular individual lah. COVID doesn't actually stop everything, but it just restrict a lot of things that you in the past that you can do right now you can't do. I give some example. If let's say a person's destiny have actually indicated have actually a very strong urge of wanted to get married and start up their what is that called their family, right? When it's indicating very strongly, that means that person really have that urge to the urge to actually do it. So for me itself, right, even if you see in in a bigger perspective, like government also have policy in place for online or ROM. So there's actually no restriction of you of that particular couples to actually get married. But the restriction maybe will hinder their what is that called their big plans, having 100 people in a banquet, probably not at this moment of time, but do you actually knows that getting married, the most important thing legally is having the ROM cert. So that is the most important. So the government doesn't actually discourage people who actually wanted to get married, and there's no way of going into the proceeding. So there's a way. So when there's a way, right, it's very much depending on that particular personnel, the particular person. So it definitely is not an excuse lah. Yeah. So when like what I mentioned, when a person marriage is triggered, right, the urge of proceeding actually increases a lot. So it is good because it acts as a catalyst also. So it's when they are actually marrying in the correct time, like what I mentioned, right, they really have a good start and they can actually accomplish more things during a very specific period of time, like having baby, building their assets. These are very important things, and getting the things right. And getting the things right means that doing the things right at the right time. So, so that's how I feel.
So you're saying that regardless of the coronavirus, if
Right.
an individual has marriage luck in their destiny, right, they will still go ahead to to proceed with the marriage.
They wanted to go ahead because they were definitely actually wanted to go ahead, but they will be like probably they will be procrastinating.
Mm.
COVID, I cannot invite my what's that called family member because I cannot held a banquet. Then no blessing from the people. But getting married, sometimes if you think we think it in a more personal level, right? It's actually between the both
Mm.
parties. For the banquet itself, you can actually do it a little bit probably a little bit longer, like another let me see, now is May, so probably during end of the year, like November and December, there may be still having some restriction, but everything should be quite fine. And but probably you will not be able to get a lot of other activities or a big banquet that will actually happen to you, right? So I will still
Mm.
encourage people who it's not excuse because of COVID to do especially if they are considering getting married, right? There's no such thing as a good year or a good year because there's no COVID, or a bad year because there's a COVID. Yeah, if it's the right time in terms of my trade, like metaphysics, if it's the right time, go for it.
Okay. So let's learn more about this marriage luck. Is the marriage luck something that you've looked at the bride to be and the groom to be, like both of them enjoy the same marriage luck and then they can get married, or how does it work?
Actually, there's always an indication. It doesn't mean that both party will have good marriage luck. Okay, it doesn't mean. So sometimes it's
Mm,
also depending on the level of the chart itself, and also depending on because sometimes when you can, like for example, a husband and wife, right, you can see who is the dominant party. Very interesting. So normally the dominant party will, well, whatever they say, the other party will actually listen. But a lot of times, right, there's an indication of most of the time, there's an indication of both party will have that kind of marriage luck to be together when it's extremely strong, like nothing can be able to actually stop them. But it doesn't mean that the relationship luck can be good lah. So some relationship luck when the destiny chart is being go out, when I look at it, right, some people probably will have some things that is not so well, yeah, but it can be adjusted if somebody is will to give them the correct advice of after getting married. Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's always good, but it can also mean that some challenges along the way. But indication is an indication. Yeah, so there will definitely
mm,
be a certain indication itself.
I see. So
Oh,
okay, um, for marriage luck, right? Let's say if someone
are you married? No, you're married already, right? But you're so
married
interested
lah.
in marriage, lah. No, just joking. Yeah,
Oh, so because for like the benefit of all the single people out there, they want to know,
yeah.
they want to plan. It's
Okay.
important.
Mm,
Yeah. So um for what I wanted to say, okay, for marriage luck, right? Let's say if someone wants to get married and they have the marriage luck, but they want to postpone it to another year, and that year they don't have the marriage luck.
right.
So is it likely for the wedding to still happen
I
in
think
a year where there's no marriage
probably
luck?
I would confuse people if I use the word luck lah.
Mm.
I think we should phrase it. I think I should phrase it in like marriage opportunity.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
marriage opportunity. So if the person this year, right, have a lot of marriage regardless is good or regardless is bad, right, then he or she will actually exposed to, like things that drive them to go into that particular direction. But if let's say that particular year they doesn't have marriage opportunity, right, it's very difficult. There may be a lot of obstacles along the way. Like for example, if they are not some things actually happen in between. They have doubts in their relationship. They hold on for a while to look at if they are able to actually pull through a certain challenges between both of them. So these are some of the things that can happen if the marriage luck opportunity is not there.
Okay, okay.
So
So actually, it is like regardless of COVID-19, if your destiny has that kind of opportunity,
yeah.
you can
Let, let,
still
let's
do
give
it.
example lah. COVID-19, if COVID-19 is something that actually restrict you from getting married and you actually wanted to get married, right? It shouldn't COVID-19 be an external consideration. If let's say something happened in terms of your relationship with your loved ones, isn't that be more internal? And isn't
Yeah.
internal is more impactful as compared to the
Mm.
external? Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
yeah.
it's true.
Hmm. Oh,
Okay, so I think that's all the questions I have
right.
for this topic. So to the viewers out there, if you enjoy this session, do note that there'll be more Facebook sessions that Keen has prepared for this circuit breaker edition, which is living and the feng shui guide to living and working under quarantine. And tonight he has a live chat with viewers. So if you have any questions, you know, do prepare them and tune in to tonight's session, which is at 9 p.m. Right,
Right,
and
it's at
you can
9 p.m. Yeah.
yeah you
So
can
after going through like the love romance, probably you all may be able to find more questions in terms of love or romance itself. It actually helps you to get to know what are the questions that you will be able to ask, because like love or romance is actually a very big topic. itself. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. And I think a lot of people, are very concerned about this. I mean, now everyone is so isolated and lonely, and the future is uncertain. So it's something that one of the things that people would think about lah.
yeah.
So okay, other than relationships, Kane also has let's see, Facebook sessions like protecting the breadwinner's rice bowl during uncertain times. So as Kane mentioned earlier in this Facebook live, in this session he will teach you feng shui methods to protect the breadwinner's health, career, and well-being. So, Kane, you want to elaborate again, just for the benefit of those who didn't tune in earlier?
Sorry, sorry, I can't really hear you well. Can you say again? I can't.
Okay,
I didn't
sorry.
catch
Okay,
it.
okay. So another Facebook live session that Kane is doing is protecting the breadwinner's rice bowl during uncertain times. So, Kane, can you
Oh,
like tell us more again?
okay, I think breadwinner is very important because they are the pillars of the family itself. So most of the time, breadwinner will be, spending a lot of time outside, earning the money and feed the family. So not only money itself, also taking care of the family in terms of building up the bonding. You know, uh, for me to go through this Facebook Live to help the breadwinner is to use like feng shui methods to actually give some suggestions for you to place certain things and also to look out for certain things in a particular sector so that you will be able to know that what are things that you have actually avoided and also what are things that you actually be able to enhance within 2020 so that feng shui itself will be able to help you to escalate or even enhance your personal life destiny. So I really look forward to help everyone, and hopefully you can stay tuned to see what are the things that you can do in terms of your house feng shui to actually benefit the breadwinner.
Okay. Kane, was that like a is that an ambulance siren in your
Yeah,
background? Oh
yeah,
no.
yeah.
I think health is like, really important, and not not just COVID-19. Now dengue is on the rise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Normally
now we have to
summertime,
protect.
right? Normally summer times, I think dengue will be in a rise because like mosquito, they always like to be like in a more humid and very warm weather.
Yeah. So now we have to protect ourselves against COVID and against like dengue. So it's, oh my god. So you have another show which is a DIY remedy to safeguard your health during a
Right,
pandemic. Yeah.
right.
So can you tell us more?
Oh, okay. If for this year, right? That
Mm,
some of the area is also touching on in terms of feng shui lah. So
mm,
I'll be actually doing something. I will show you some very simple methods, and also things materials that is easily available in your house, to actually DIY a cure. Is actually very good for the recent virus itself to prevent the family members for any health threats. And also, sometimes it's also very useful in terms of not getting loss of wealth very often. So keep your wallet very tight. So also stay tuned. So it's very interesting. It's not something that you need to spend a lot of money to actually do a cure in a feng shui perspective. So stay tuned, yeah, and very soon that I'll be sharing with you. And some of my students have actually attended my feng shui class. They get to know the different types of cure, right? And this is one of the cure that is very effective. And a lot of times they will be asking me some advice on how to dispose, should we reuse? So these are the questions that I will also uh, address the doubts of how do you manage this cure, right?
mm. Okay.
Mm,
So Kane also has another Facebook session which is quick and easy feng shui tips to enhance productivity, harmony, and health at home.
right. Yeah. So because of this Facebook Live, like the second or the third live session, right? A lot of people are asking me like, which is my favorable direction, where should I face, where should I sit, what type of house should I buy. So I will actually go through, and I'll go through it a little bit more manual, but for you to be really able to actually master. But it's not something that's difficult. It's a very simple calculation. From the calculation, you can base on a chart to actually derive your favorable directions, your favorite sector. So it's good that, like for example, if in future you go for interview, like right now, if you do have an interview, you can actually practice it if you know it, facing your best direction to actually acquire wealth, to have good luck in that particular in the particular things that you do. So I will actually go through with you also, and a lot of people are actually very interested. But it's actually a very very simple technique, yeah, and it is very very helpful, right?
Okay, that sounds really interesting. So, if you enjoy this episode and if you're interested to find out more about Kane's subsequent Facebook live sessions during this circuit breaker, to address any concerns you may have during this challenging time, do check out the Celestial Ambience Facebook page. All the details or the schedule are there. So, okay, we have come to the end to the first Facebook live with Kane. Okay, thank you, Kane.
Thanks, Shireen. Okay,
Um,
see everybody at 9 p.m. today. Okay, bye bye.
bye.